today he is going to be in this session to help me with the audio, with some aspects with of this session. And
Okay.
as you see, well, I have a general presentation, but I have a presentation about the rules. I think that we can start with this presentation. It's only one. We prefer that we control the microphones. We can close and open. Please, if you have a camera in your computer, please do not use it. Microphones must be off. Just for participation, you can turn on. After each presentation, a space is open for questions and comments. And use chat in case your microphone does not work. All presentations and documents will be sent after sessions. And remember that you have the option to do an exam for the qualification as an SPP evaluator. We have a month to do this exam, to apply this exam. We just have to schedule the date and an hour. But after we can program the exam if you want to apply for this. For the first session, I don't know if you have seen an email I have just sent you some minutes ago with a new version of the agenda. Please, if you can open this file, because, well, this is a new version. It has some changes because the first one has to be modified. Then, well, if you can open this new file, or if you cannot, I will show the agenda in the screen.
Just a question. This
Yes.
The agenda is it the one that you sent yesterday, or have you just sent one? Because I haven't received a new email.
Well, I have just sent some minutes ago. Sorry.
Okay, so okay, it might arrive a few minutes later, but yeah.
Yes, a ver, sorry.
Sorry, me too. I didn't receive email with the new agenda.
I'm sorry. No, I will send again. What? Could you please tell me your email? Well, Cardona, and the second one, your email, Beiji, please.
Yeah. Just one moment. I will send it by.
Good morning.
Beiji Sadrin. Yes, now I have just sent to Zimmerman and Beiji, because in the previous email I didn't copy your email direction. Well,
good morning. Can you hear me?
Geronimo, thank you.
Yes, I'm here.
Hello.
Good morning. Well, I did get the agenda. I got it about 10 minutes ago.
Yeah, hello?
Yeah, I just received the email. Thank you for.
Yes.
Yeah, me too. I have it.
Do you have it?
Yeah,
now,
I have it. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Now Geronimo is here. Geronimo is the executive director of SPP Global, and he will start with the first presentation. Well, first with the welcome. Jerónimo, please. We are going to give you the in order you can move your mouse. Yes, sir.
Can you see my screen?
Now your presentation, well, it's the first presentation, but first the welcome.
Yeah, I understand.
Yes, I have it.
You can see my screen?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I have it. I have it also.
Well, good morning or afternoon for you. I think it's more or less more afternoon than morning. What's a pity you just two of you showed up. I hope other people will get in soon. But I'm very happy to have you here and to be able to share this training with you. I think we have to change the indication you gave, Alejandra, that people should better leave their microphone open so that you can close them. Isn't that right? Because you said that people should close their microphone, but I think we agreed.
Yeah.
With this new system, which go to training, it's better to leave it open because you can, with your hands raised, then Alejandra or Yasser, we can open the microphone. So now, Yasser or Alejandra, you have to close the mics.
Okay. Yeah.
Yes, but you closed mine too, so that was not. I was able to open it again. So, well, we're very happy you're all here, and for us, it's very to have you participating in the training is very important. Each year we do training. We had it Spanish training a couple of days ago, and it was with quite a lot more people. And anyway, we'll make a recording of this training so that other people, if they're not able to participate today, can hear it or see it and hear and see it later on. For us, of course, it's very important to have English-speaking evaluators in the SPP system because we are making quite a lot of progress in having a presence in different countries in Africa and Asia, in which English is, let's say, easier language to work with, and in some cases French. So probably next year we'll need a French training too. But it's quite a lot of work to work with 3 languages. So we're still in the process of setting up the whole system in French too. So again, well, some things have changed the last year, and we did make quite a lot of progress. So it's always nice to have you here and to be able to not only share the way the system works nowadays, but also let's say talk again a bit about the origin of SPP and what we're fighting for together. So maybe it's already known to you. I think at least Zimmerman is quite well aware of the background of SPP, but I'll start with that part of the agenda. Okay, there it is. So you can, as a matter of fact, see on the left side our slogan for today, which is with small producers today for a better tomorrow, which is the message we want to give to the world. That important to support small producers so that we all can have a better future. Well, our positioning as SPP has suffered some small changes along the last couple of years. So now what we use as our positioning is that the small producers symbol SPP is a label that represents an alliance among organized small producers to build the local and global markets. As you can see in screen, that values the identity and economy, social, cultural, ecological contributions of small producers organizations. The word organizations many times we stress it quite a lot because we don't work with individual or with small producers because it's a different setup, it's a different way of working, and it's not the way we, let's say, worldwide think we can make the same kind of progress and we can do the same kind of work. Of course, the alliance is also based on relationships with buyers and consumers. So we see two levels of the alliance. It's in the first place, it's alliance between producers themselves, and in the second place, it's an alliance with traders and finally consumers, which is in the end our big challenge is how to communicate and to relate directly with our end consumers as small producers. And we do work, as you know, with the independent certification system, which of course is important for people who want to see SPP as a trustworthy system. And that's not, let's say, evenly important in all countries, but in some countries it's very important, particularly in Europe. So it focuses, SPP focus on the identity of small fair trade producers. And the issue of identity is very much important because it's the only label that really only stands for small producers in the international fair trade market and the global fair trade market. And we do think it's SPP is more than a label. We do see it more than a label. It's just it's the image that takes, let's say, our philosophy, our way of working, our way of doing things as small producers towards the market and the consumers. It's a way of conveying a message, but it's not everything we do depends on the label. And anyway, a label is always a means to get a message. So it's not about putting stickers on products and selling stickers. It's about working on our mission with small producers. So what are the main characteristics of SPP which differentiate us from other let's say fair trade and sustainability initiatives? And we can resume it mainly in the most important one, which distinguishes most, which is, let's say, also easy to communicate, is that we are 100% producer-owned label. There are other labels who have share some of their shares with producers and have a partial participation ownership of labels. But SPP is the only one where 100% of, let's say, the shares are owned by the producers themselves. And we only do certify small producers organizations, which is always also different. Most schemes do certify all kind of other setups, which can vary from individual small producers to private plantations or let's say contract production setups or similar family companies. So the other main thing is, which is much related to the ownership, is that the standards, pricing, functioning as a whole is mainly decided by producers ourselves. Of course, with participation of traders too, you can see it later on. But the main the main decisions are decision-making processes are guided by producers themselves. So you have the majority participation of small producers in the main governance bodies, such as the assembly, of course, which although there's membership of other actors like traders, but they can only be associate members. The only owner members can be producers. But also in the board and the standard committee, the main positions and the majority of positions are for small producers. The also important thing we stress a lot, also at the level of our standard, is that we promote the strengthening of the organization and local economies, and also by stressing the importance of creating added value. And that is also an important difference with some other labels which only work towards, let's say, the export of prime materials. We do have some particular requisites towards traders, so that they cannot, let's say, do token fair trade, or what we call fair washing, let's say, that to just do a little bit of fair trade, a little bit of commitment with producers, but not really the most of their trade they would do normally, and just a small bit with SPP or other labels, and then say try to wash their image as a whole, the whole company, and say, well, we're involved in fair trade, we're involved in SPP with small producers, but really without a strong commitment, just to take, let's say, some market advantage and some marketing advantage of it. So that's what we avoid with requiring, in our standard, you'll see that later on, a certain commitment to volumes in time. We don't have as you know, own certification body. We work with nowadays about 8 certifiers, and maybe soon a bit more. And so that's creates a lot of flexibility for producers, because most of them are organic certified, so they can most of the time they can work with their organic certified. The other issue is the minimum prices, which are, as I said, set by the producers themselves, but they also involve in a comprehensive way the production costs. They should cover all costs which are not necessarily taken into account in some, let's say, more traditional studies on costs. If you're talking about a small producers organization, you have to also consider all kinds of other costs, like the organization of people, to have let's say, proper democratic decision making, to have trainings, to have internal systems, which in the end makes producing maybe a bit more expensive, or I would say for sure that it's more expensive than producing as a private owner. It's just a bunch of workers, and which would do everything the owner says. So that's a different kind of setup with different cost aspects. So just to give you an idea of what we're at this very moment, we are now over 100,000 families participating, farmers' families, and in a total of 22 countries, as you can see here in the screen. Let's say that the black characters, the black words are countries are the ones in Latin America. The brown ones are from Africa. So we have now 5 African countries, and the red ones are from Asia, which now have been now 3 Asian countries. So the tendency is to have more of a balance in the future, to have more African and Asian countries participating. we probably very soon will have Ethiopia on the list, which there are some farmers organizations, coffee farmers organizations that have already said they want to get certified soon. Well, these are the companies we are working with. Important to notice that we work with several, let's say, very traditional, very old, in a positive way, fair trade companies like GEPA, but also Equal Exchange, Just Us from Canada, Centropol from Canada, La Siembra also from Canada, the case of GEPA from Germany, Alcinera, Italy, and Etikable France. And so you can see there are all companies who are very much committed to fair trade, and many of them are also co-ops themselves, like Cooperative Coffees, like Equal Exchange, like Just Us Coffee, Etikable. They are all co-ops themselves. We also have a growing amount of SPP products in our own markets and our domestic market, which has always been a big part of our objectives. It was actually the first objective we had before thinking about the international markets. We always thought we would make more progress on the local domestic markets first. Although this was, in the end, it turned out to be a bit slower, but you could see that lately we have an increasing amount of SPP products on the local market. Here, important to notice is that if producers themselves put those brands on the market, then they don't have to pay an additional user's fee. They are free to, let's say, with their certification, to use this label on their own brands. Well, a lot of brands in the international market is just some of them. In the United States, Italy, Canada, France. The variety of products is also increasing quite a lot. This is, let's say, the main part of the product. I think we have several others nowadays, smaller products. We have to update this list, but still important. The main part is coffee, although cocoa and some other products are growing quite a lot. Bananas are now not only certified but also getting on the market, because of course it's not necessarily the same to be certified and to have the products on the market, but in most cases this is already the case. Even we have now some people trading some handicrafts, which makes us also a bit different to let's say Fair Trade International, some other fair trade labels which do not do anything with handicrafts apart from WFTO, which is more oriented to handicrafts. But we do have a particular handicraft standards, which you will see later on. These are for now the certification entities. This moment there's also a request from the French company Tero to get accredited, so we expect them to be accredited in the coming month, and this will also, well, is a bit aimed. They are very much interested in Africa and Asia to work there, so this will help, let's say, the coverage of our certifiers all over the world, because it's always very important to be able to work with local certifiers, or at least certifiers that have local people in places which can stand and step in whenever necessary in a particular country. So this is the overview of the current general structure. As you can see, the producers are the owner members. The numbers are not completely updated. I think we have now about 42 producers members. If you are certified SPP, you have the right to become a member, but you're not automatically put into the assembly, because finally people have to sign up voluntarily to be the member, formal legal member of SPP Global, which is something that always is a bit behind. So we hope to have a lot of new members at our coming assembly. And so the only ones who have the right to vote at the General Assembly are the owner members. We have 3 types of solidarity members: the producer networks. There are several national producer networks which ask to be solidarity member. There are the SPP buyers and some NGOs, and we also have honorary members, which are institutions or persons that make possible the start, the legal setup of SPP, which is the CLAC, then Latin American and Caribbean Fair Trade Coordination Body of Fair Trade Producers, and Marta Torres, which is a Mexican person, which also offered her representation to be able to make the constitution possible. We have a surveillance committee, of course. We have the board of directors, which is our main decision-making organ and committee, and which meets every month normally and virtually. And we have a standards and procedure committee, which normally would meet, let's say, up to 6 times a year. Most of the time it would be less. And we have a support and promotion committee, which depends on the board, and we have a dissent committee, which is it's an ad hoc committee which only operates when trouble arises, and it's set up with the chairs of the different committees. So here you can see that, and the board of directors, all the main positions are occupied by producers. We do have traders in place. That's this is somebody from Equal Exchange, from USA, somebody from Canada, James Solking. This is from the traders too, and we have a trader from Europe participating at the board level. But they are, let's say, just members. So the chair, the vice chair, the treasurer, and the secretary are producers' representatives. In the surveillance committee, we have the producers as chair, but we do have a trader representative and NGO, civil society representative participating. As you can see, it's now the producers are mainly in Latin America. We probably in the future will, with more Africans and Asians participating, we will have to share the different representations with producers and maybe also traders from other continents. Well, this is the Standards and Procedure Committee, which has a bit the same kind of structure. And producers are being held in the main positions. This is the Dissent Committee. When there is troubles of different kinds, it could also be just an issue of non-compliance or a complaint or a request, which is not part of, let's say, the normal standards or procedures. They have to have a look at it, particular cases. We do want our SPP system to be flexible and to be, let's say, reasonable in all cases. If there are very strong reasons for not complying on certain particular issues by an actor, either a producer or a trader, but it's still within, let's say, the framework of principles and values of SPP, then they are allowed to, let's say, give a permit. So this would be the international network we're building little by little. So the most formal representation we have in France, which is the SPP Association France, which was founded in May 2015, 2 years ago. And in Latin American countries, we have agreements signed with different fair trade producer networks so that they represent SPP in their countries. And we're trying to fortify these structures so that they really can act as SPP platforms and have more capacities in each and every country, which takes a while because it requires also resources. And so we do have this kind of agreements, particularly with SPP in Ecuador, Ecuador and Peru, Guatemala, and in Colombia. And we're making progress also in talks with the Nicaraguan and the Mexican fair trade producers. And we also have, although it's not on this slide, but we do have somebody in Germany representing SPP Global, and with the aim to have a SPP platform in the future, more similar to the French one. So we this is our operational structure. We are still building it. I'm the head. I'm the executive director. We have finance and administration division, certification and quality area, and communications and outreach area, and market development. We will in the future want to separate market development to an own area, as our own area. It's not the case yet because of a lack of resources. And well, that will be the structure as we're building it up. We have, as of our strategic plan, we inaugurated last year. It was approved at the assembly. We're now doing a new strategy of mainly for communication, but also to stimulate collaborations between traders and even consumers with small producers on a different level, to say not only by consuming their products, but contributing to products projects they are developing, which in the end not only benefit their local communities and their local economies, but also benefit, let's say, the world, to build a better world in many senses, which is to the interest not only of producers but also of consumers. So it's also a new way of linking what producers are doing, linking it again with the interest of consumers and traders, which unfortunately, also because of a certain level of deception with some other fair trade initiatives, they have stepped out of fair trade and say, well, we'll do our own thing, we'll do our direct trade model without any control of anybody. So with these strategies, we're trying to involve new traders, mainly medium and small size traders who want to have a close relationship with their producers. And it's also a way of building a new, or renovate, let's say, the image of small producers in the market, linking on issues that are or can be of the interest of consumers when things have quite changed a lot since fair trade started. Maybe it was easier to promote the image of small producers as being, let's say, a worthwhile cause than it is nowadays, when people are confronted with many very strong issues in the media all the time, and on migration, on wars, on all kind of problematic stuff, which puts a challenge to us to keep, let's say, the interest of consumers in the work small producers do. So this is let's say a communication strategy. It's not based on standards, although in some cases it is based on what actually happens in the field. Is that traders, let's say, pay some kind of a premium on destinated to certain projects, let's say for coffee producers to fight the impact of climate change and Roya problems with the Roya disease, and then the traders say, well, we'll pay another 5 or 10% on top of our normal prices so that you can finance those activities, and we take jointly a certain responsibility for those kind of projects, which in the end help us all, and also help us to have good quality, but helps the world to have a better climate. And that's an example of how things work. Also in the case of Women in Action, we have projects participating in which the traders agreed with the co-ops that women do a lot of extra work, which is not many times not taken into account in the calculation of production costs, like waking up at 3, 4 o'clock in the morning to make food for the family and to take to the fields. And so some traders are contributing to the co-ops to say, well, we'll pay that work and put it into a special fund so that women can take control of those funds and do whatever they like to do and need to do for their well-being. It's not part of the certification system, but it's also what we're trying to do with this is also promoting an image of that fair trade is also, and to work with small producers is also about taking co-responsibility for things. It's not only about requiring things and putting very big, large lists towards producers. Well, you have to fulfill all these criteria. Like these criteria to be able to send us your product because we want to be very responsible. But well, who's going to help producers to finance that? Because prices many times are way from enough to finance all those activities, which it would enhance the producer organization to fulfill all those ecological and social criteria. But if there's no way to finance all those commitments from producer side, then it's very easy for the traders and consumers to say, well, we want it to be sustainable and responsible, but if there's no means to do it, then this is quite a hypocrite's point of view. So that's also how this program of campaign, you could better call it, of global contributions is to promote a different image of what fair trade is about. That's why we also say it's more than a label. It's a way of working together and building together a different world and a different economy. And we as I said, we better use the word campaign for this kind of activities. We sometimes call it program, and then people start thinking we have a lot of money to put in this kind of activities, but it's a bit the other way around. We just promote things that are already happening in the country, in the field, and hoping that people will link in and support it eventually financially. So these are some of the examples of the groups with this kind of work for women groups. This is in the case of Nicaragua, also one group working on climate change together with traders. Here we mention only the SPP traders because some of these projects there are also other traders involved, but they're not necessarily SPP, so we won't do too much of a propaganda for those companies who are not. Oh, you're not hearing me anymore? Now it's better? Benji? I think I got the microphone a bit away from my mouth. So what I said is that these are the examples of some cases where this collaboration between the co-ops and traders are set up and leading to very interesting and very nice projects in the field. Just well, to mention at the end, we also are part of the Latin American. Alfred and Rusty are in. Happy to see that. It's a pity that you came in a bit late, so because I'm almost finishing my presentation. But welcome to you all. So to mention at the end of my presentation is that SPP, because our main offices are in Latin America, we are invited to participate at a regional campaign to promote fair trade towns in Latin America. And we have also been participating at the conference of fair trade towns, the worldwide conference, which was last year in Lebanon, and this year will be in Germany. So we are participating there too. For us, it's important that when these kind of initiatives are promoted, that also SPP is taking into account, and that the SPP has a place in this kind of campaigns to promote the commitment of cities, city governments, and village governments to promote fair trade, but also on SPP terms, not only on Fair Trade International terms or WFTO terms. It's the same case with the universities, fair trade universities, campuses, which you have different campaigns all over the world to involve universities to promote fair trade as a whole. And we participate together with other fair trade labels and initiatives, particularly with CLAC, Fair Trade International, and with WFTO Latin America, to promote universities to participate in fair trade, and in different ways. There are all kinds of criteria set up for that, to be recognized as a fair trade university. And for us, it's important again that SPP is, let's say, one of the certified or the labels that is accepted by this kind of campaigns, which was not. Alejandra Yacer, there seems to be a problem with Beji. He's not hearing anything, I think.
Okay.
Can you check that?
Okay.
Thank you. And of course, we have been doing quite a lot of promotion activities. We participate quite a lot at the BioFAC, which is the Worldwide Organic Fair in each year in Nuremberg in Germany. We've been participating a couple of times now. And with the delegation, we've also had a visit to India of our treasurer from Peru last year, and we made our visit to Ethiopia this year, and we also participate in regular base at the SEA, which is the Specialty Coffee Association fair, which is the biggest. Bidgie still has problems to hear me. I don't know what the problem is there. The others are hearing me. Hello, is there anybody out there?
Maybe you can write by chat if you listen to Jerónimo, please. I can hear you very well, Jerónimo.
Okay. Well, so we do have a lot of activities also in the SEA, as I said. So this year, these are some pictures from last year. This year we also had a big participation. And that would be in general my presentation. For you, it's a bit short. I would like to talk about other things, but again, for us, it's important that we all convey the message that it's important to stand with small producers today for everybody having a better tomorrow. And that's what we're working for, to strengthen small producers organization as one of the best ways of creating development and well-being. So nice to talk to you. It's I don't know if there's some questions or some comments people want to make. I don't know if you have time for that, Alejandra.
Yes.
Maybe-
Secondly, thank you, Jerónimo.
You're welcome.
I don't know if they have some questions or comments, or can we continue with the next presentation? Maybe you can write a message by the chat, and maybe we can continue with the following presentation.
I think Beiji is now hearing us well.
But no, because I asked him if he can see the screen,
Okay.
and he answered me that yes, but I don't know if now can you hear Beiji? Well, but
Yes.
to write a message. Yasser,
Yeah.
can you write a message by chat to Beiji, please?
Okay. I think that there is a problem with his computer.
Okay. I don't know if you can assist him or something like that, but you can write message to him by chat, please.
Okay.
He's already answering, I think.
Okay. According to the agenda, the next presentation is the small producers symbol. I don't know if Jerónimo will continue, or are you leaving the session, Jerónimo?
No, I still have to. I have to leave, unfortunately, because my house was completely flooded last night. So I
My
didn't
God.
sleep much to get all the water out. So I have to clean up.
Okay.
First,
Okay. Good luck.
yeah, thank you very much, and have a good day. Have a good training.
Thank you, Jerónimo. Thank you. Thanks to you.
Nice to.
Bye-bye.
Goodbye. All the best.
Bye. Well, as I told you, the next presentation is the small producer symbol system, and this is a document in which there are different tables. But first, we will check the definition of the SPP system. The SPP system has different components. I'm sorry. Now, can you see my screen? Maybe you can write
Yes,
by
yes.
chat. Okay. What does the SPP system consist of? What are the system's components? Now you can see different categories of documents. The first one is the documents for decision making in the SPP system. And the second one is general documents. The third one, documents on standards, procedures for certification and use. And the last one, regulations for authorized certification entities. Now, I will show you the different tables. In the first one, it is presented the documents for decision making. The first one is the terms for reference for board of directors. The second one, terms of reference for standards and procedures committee, terms of reference for surveillance committee, terms of reference for dissent committee, and finally, procedures for the definition of the standards and procedures. As you can see, most of them are terms of reference for the different committees in the in SPP Global. I just I'm going to read the first one. The terms of reference for the board of directors is the document establishing the procedures that must be followed by the board of directors of the Foundation of Organized Small Producers with regard to its composition and functioning. This is applicable to all stakeholders, but not all of them have to know this document. These documents are important because in this are established the rules on how do we develop the different documents, the different procedures, and for example, the standards. That's the reason because of the importance of this kind of documents. The second table are the general documents. The first one is the Declaration of Principles and Values. The description of this document is the document that reflects all the principles and values behind the small producer symbol, and that represent the psychological foundations on the entire small producer symbol system. This is a very important document. You have to remember the Declaration of Principles and Values, not because in the case of certification entities, you don't have to follow this document to be evaluated in a certification process, for example. But it is important because we take this document as the, well, we are based, all of our documents are based on this Declaration of Principles and Values. All the standards, all the procedures must be based on this declaration. And in the second place is the Code of Conduct. This document describes that the values and conduct to which participants in the small producer symbol must commit. The Code of Conduct is not certified, but its violation may lead to processes of complaints and appeals. It's more or less the same. You don't have, as a certification entity, you don't have to evaluate the compliance of this code, but anyway, anytime somebody can send to SPP Global an objection or a dissent if anybody or if some of the stakeholders, it could be a small producer organization, a buyer, an importer or exporter, whatever, violate this code, we can, if they have a certificate, we can cancel the certificate if they have a violation of this code. In the third table is the table of documents on standards. You can see the first one is the general standard of the small producer symbol. This is the main document of this table. The most important is the general standard. Then there are some annexes to the general standard. List of specific parameters, list of optional complementary criteria, list of prohibited products, list of prices, list of authorized countries, specific standard for craft. Specific standards for crafts and specific standards for herbs are two more standards. Then we have the general standard and two specific standards. Then you have to remember this. And finally, a suggestion form that is just a form that SPP stakeholders may use to register their suggestions with regard to any specific document to be sent to Fondepo. Well, in this case, in the past, our organization was called Fundepo, but nowadays the current name is SPP Global. Then we are in the process of changing all of the documents. Then I apologize, in some cases it says Fundepo. But then in this case, we are presenting all the general documents for each category. But then we are going to explain each one of these. In table number 4, we have the documents on certification and registration. In the first place, we have the certification procedures for small producers organizations. In the second place, the registration procedures for final buyers and other stakeholders. In this case, you can see that we have specific procedures in the first place for the small producers organizations. Sometimes they say cooperatives, but we call them small producers organizations. And in the second place, we have a registration procedures. These procedures is specific for final buyers and other stakeholders. In other presentation, we are going to review this kind of stakeholders, the final buyers and other stakeholders. We refer to companies in general, but there are specific procedures, even though they are very similar. We are going to check in other presentation. Then we have procedures for risk determination, general application guidelines, guidelines for collective certification, guidelines for shared use of registration with small producers, with small buyers, procedures for issuance, modification, and expansion of certificates and registrations, defense procedures, guidelines for defining the work plan of evaluation of compliance, regulations on cost, users contract, regulations on graphics, evaluation form, evaluation report. Then all of these documents are in this category. Procedures for certification and registration. Well, you can check after the course, and this is the description of each one. And this is all the documents that we have in the SPP system. And finally, in table number 5, we have the documents on certification entities. This is because, as Jerónimo told in the previous presentation, we have a third-party certification system. For that reason, we work with different certification entities, but all of these certifiers have to apply for the authorization process. And in this table, we are presented the documents for the authorization procedures for certification entities, procedures for qualification of evaluators and examiners, regulation on cost for certification entities, and agreement on authorization of certification entities. Then these documents are considered part of the certification system. And that's all about this presentation. The main objective is that you see all the documents that we have included in the certification system. I don't know if you have some question about this presentation. Yasser, do you know if there are some questions?
No.
And now, does Beiji can hear? Can Beiji hear now?
Yeah.
Okay.
Alejandra, wait. Alfred has a question.
Okay, yes. Can you open the microphone, please?
Yeah.
I would like to ask, hello?
Yes, Alfred?
Hello? I would like to say that as I followed you, I saw all the document which included in the certification,
Yes.
and I see that if you can, the document will be, you can send them to us so that we may inform all the small producers.
Okay. Then, do you say that you would like to have all of these documents?
So that we can train our producers.
Okay. Yes. But I don't know if you have some specific documents about the certification. Because as you see, as you saw, there are different categories, and there
Yes,
are more or less 30 or 40 documents in total.
there is some documents which we have. For
Yes.
example,
Sorry?
yes, I said that we must inform our producers about the system. We must inform them about all these documents and our staff, our field officers, and so forth.
Okay. I think that it would be a good idea to form to training about the standard.
Yes.
They have to know all of the criteria of the general standard, and
Yes.
maybe some procedures about certification. But the most important is the standard. The standard, maybe there are some annexes to the standard.
Yes.
I suggest you that you train or form all of the members and staff of your cooperative in this part, the standards.
Okay, let's continue.
And I can send you these documents.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you, Alfred.
Thank you too. Yes.
Are there other questions? Is there other question?
No.
Okay. Then we can continue with the next presentation. That is the general standard of the small producer symbol. A second, please. Well, in this slide is the topic of the presentation, the SPP General Standard, and a picture. This picture is about the document that is the General Standard. We are going to, well, I am going to show you after the presentation, but this is the structure of the standard. Is an Excel file with different columns. In the first column, you can see, well, you don't have to read, then you just have to see that there are different columns. In the first one is the number, the second is the explanatory text is specified in the second column. Then the classification of the text or criteria in the third column, because there are different kind of criteria. There are informative criteria, critical criteria, minimum criteria, and continuous improvement criteria. Then in the 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8 column, it is annexed because we have to mark to which specific stakeholder apply each of these criteria. In the first column, we have an SPO, small producer organization. In the second column, a collective SPO is a collective trading company owned by small producers organizations. In the third column, we have the buyer, but the right name is final buyer. In the seventh column, intermediary, and in the last one, maquila company. All of these are the stakeholders that we consider in the SPP system. Now we have here the complete names. Small Producers Organization, the acronym is SPO. Final buyers, BUY. Collective trading companies owned by SPO is CSPO. Intermediaries, INT. Maquila companies, MAC. Then you have to remember all of these stakeholders, but sometimes we call buyers, collective trading companies, intermediaries, and maquila, we call companies. In general, all of them are companies. And SPO are the organizations. In the SPP system, SPOs are the most important stakeholders of our system. Well, the informative criteria, you can see that different criteria which explains different aspects of the standard. For example, compliance with the critical minimum and continuous improvement criteria will be verified through the certification and registration procedures. Then it means that informative criteria, as certification entities or evaluators, you don't have to evaluate the informative criteria. They are, as the name says, they just inform. Another criteria says, since there are many ways in which the criteria in this standard may be fulfilled, the way in which each particular evaluatee fulfills this criteria is defined and demonstrated by that evaluatee. Then this is the structure, as I told you before. As you see in the third column in the classification, all of this in this slide, I am showing you the critical criterion, but you can filter, as you can see, the different kind of criteria. And in this example, in this chapter 4.1.1 are the criteria applied to SPOs, because we have an X marked in this column for SPO. Then you have to see which of them are marked with an X. Other informative criteria is when a small producers organization is at the second, third, or fourth level, it must select the level at which it wishes to receive certification, depending on its particular circumstance and based on its own internal decision. I don't know if all of you are familiar with these different kind of organizations, a first, second, third, or fourth level organizations. But it says that depending on its particular circumstance, each of these different organizations must decide in which level do they want to be certified. Because if it is a second level organization, and if they want to be certified in the second level, all of the members in the first level organization that are their members will be included in the evaluation for the certification. They cannot select some of the first level organizations to be certified. All of them must to be included. In between parentheses, it must be understood, however, that all of the criteria for SPO will be applied to the entire organization selected for certification. Another informative is, according to SPP Global's procedures for defining standards, particular criteria may be authorized for specific countries or specific products. Then you have to remember this informative criteria, because we have an annex to the general standard that is the specific list of specific parameters, because in this criteria says particular criteria may be authorized for specific countries or specific products. The general standard has the parameter about the size of unit production, but there are some specific parameters for some products or some countries. And if somebody want to apply for a new specific parameter, they have to send your request, the requestment to SPP Global. For some products, such as crafts and herbs, there are obligatory specific standards which should be consulted and applied in place of this general standard. Maybe you remember that in the tables in the SPP system I presented before, I explained you that the general standard is the most important. Then there are some specific annexes. Well, there are different annexes to the general standard, and there are two specific standards for crafts and for herbs. The general standard for small producers organization, well, in the standard are presented the criteria for all of stakeholders. As you see, there are different columns, but there are specific chapters for organizations and another chapter for the companies. In the chapter that they are presented the standard for small producer organization, one of the most important criteria is this. The small producer organization current definition is minimum 85% of members has until 15 hectares productive area, until 1 hectare indoor agriculture, until 500 hips beekeeping production. This is the general standard. 85%, 15 hectares in productive area. Well, this is referring to agricultural, indoor agricultural and beekeeping. And the 50% of members can have until 2 times these parameters. Then I would like to ask some of you, what do you understand in this part? I don't know, maybe Rusty, can you help me in this part? I would like that you explain what does it mean, this criteria. Rusty, can you hear me? Can you open your microphone? Thank you.
Okay.
And can you explain what does it mean? Minimum 85% can have 15 hectares in agricultural productive area, and 50% of members until 2 times these parameters. Then 15%, what would be the maximum hectares in agriculture productive area. Sí. Rusty? Rusty?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay. Did you understand, or do you prefer I explain?
Not completely.
Okay.
As I'm the newcomer.
It means that the 50% can have until 30 hectares in the agricultural productive area, because it says that they can have until 2 times these parameters. Yes, it means that 50% can have 30 hectares, and indoor agriculture 2 hectares, in beekeeping production 1,000 hips. Yes.
Yes.
Then 15% of members and 80% must have maximum 15 hectares. It means that there are the small producers organizations are of different size. Maybe an organization can have 150 members. Some of their organizations have 300 or 900, 2,000. It depends. Some of them are small, some of them are very, well, some of them are huge, some of them are medium. And in case there is organization with, suppose 1,000 members, 1,000, the 80% would be 80, 150. Yes? And the 50% would be 150, 150. Because the example is that we have an organization of 1,000 members. Then 80, 150 must have maximum 15 hectares, and 1,050 members could have until 30 hectares. Then an evaluator will have to check the list of members, because all of the organization have to have a list of members. Then the evaluator will have to check the list of members and will have to check the size of the unit, production size of each one. This is the explanation of this criterion, specific criterion. Okay. Thank you, Rusty. Now, can you understand better? Could you understand better?
Yes, thank you.
Yes, you're welcome. Possibility of setting regional variants of product country, list of specific parameters. Then these are the different chapters of criteria for small producers organization. In chapter 4.2, organizational criteria, in which it refers to democracy, transparency, independence, non-discrimination, transparency in decision-making. And the next chapter, 4.3, productive criteria, established product flow, record flow, and administered by a small producer organization. Sorry, here we have a mistake because it is in Spanish. And estimates, we continue with criteria for a small producer organization, management criteria, generation quality management system in the next chapter, commercial criteria, referring to transaction records, pricing and payment forms approved by the General Assembly, technical specifications, and other criteria. Well, there are they are chapters, but in this case, I didn't write the specific of each one. Dignified living, labor criteria, strengthening and small producer sector, environment and human health. Then we have the specific criteria for buyers that are presented in the general standard. For buyers, the evaluation is about the legal registration and capacity management system, not being a producer of the same product, buy product in the most advanced stage of processing, information on company operations, record of SPP operations, traceability. Some other are consumer transparency, what percentage purchase from SPO, commitment to at least 5% of the total value of purchases for the second year of registrations. This is one of the most important. This and the next one, commitment to annual growth to reach minimally 25%. In this case, the evaluator would have to review to check the volume of the SPP purchases. In order, you will have to calculate the percentage of these purchases, specifically for SPP purchases. Then, when a buyer is registered on the SPP system, at the end of the second year of the registration, they will have to buy at least 5% of the total value of purchases of the company. And then we have to increase on annually to reach minimally 25%. Another criteria is direct trading or through other SPO. Buyers must request authorization to trade through private companies. Clear contracts, sustainable prices, refinancing, timely payment, quality, multi-ingredient products, 50% certified. It means that when a buyer have a product composed with different ingredients, not, for example, a chocolate juice. For example, we have a different fruit juice. We have to check, we have to review if at least 50% of those ingredients are SPP certified. This is the minimum according to the standard. Well, this is a chapter in the standard related to price concepts, and this applied for SPOs and for companies also. Well, yes, companies, buyers and intermediaries, defined by SPO networks, sustainable minimum price, organic recognition, small producer symbol incentive. All of this, well, the sustainable, the organic, and the incentive are the components of the SPP sustainable price. We have a list of SPP sustainable prices, and we will check after this presentation. But remember these components: the sustainable minimum, the organic recognition, and the SPP incentive. And no duplication with fair trade, with the fair trade system that we know as FLO, Fair Trade Labeling Organization, FLO. This is the end of this presentation. Do you have some questions about this topic or comments, or can we continue with the other presentation that are the specific standards for crafts and herbs? Rusty, do you have a question? Rusty?
Yes.
Yes. Tell me. Can you open your microphone, Rusty? Yes.
How can? Do you hear me?
Yes.
Can
Well,
is it
not
clearly?
more or less. Can you speak?
Okay. How can you decide the minimum price for all your products?
Okay. Well, they have been decided by the same small producers organizations and the buyers, their buyers that are involved in a specific product. And nowadays we have a list of different products, but they have been decided with them, with a group. We form a group in which they are involved, the SPOs, the buyers, the different small producers organizations, and they presented a proposal to the standards, the committee, the standards, the committee for standards and procedures, and they decided if they approved. Finally, the board of directors approved the final decision. But we form a group with the small producer organization, buyers, and SPP Global. All of we work with a proposal in which they have to show the system of costs. They have to present their calculations, because this is the justification in which all of them are agree. And finally, the committees approve the price. Yes?
Is that really fair price for them?
Sorry?
Is that really fair price for them? As I can see in Indonesia, many small producers did not count how many money they have spent to crops the coffee, for example. And
Yes.
sometimes they sold their coffee only for fulfill their needs, their daily needs. They didn't count how to get a good price, how to get a better life. They only think I should survive. Is
Yes.
it fair? Do you think is it fair?
Yes, it must be fair, because they decided the price, and the buyer must respect, well, they with their buyers, because the buyers that are in the SPP system has to be certified also, and they have to respect the rules. Then they would have to respect the price, the SPP sustainable price, because they're in the standard, it says that they have to pay the SPP minimum price, or in case the prices in the market is higher, in the conventional market is higher, comparing with SPP, the SPP price, they will have, or they would have to pay the higher price, because sometimes in the market, for example, coffee is in the New York market, then sometimes the price lows or it's higher, and in the case this price is higher, in the case of coffee, when they celebrate a contract, they will have to pay this higher. It says in the standard, but all of our prices are fair. And if they are not agree, for example, if there are a price for specific product, because there are coffee, banana, sugar, that we have decided in the past, but now in the present, maybe they are not agree with that price. Then specific group can suggest to SPP Global to review the price and to send their proposal with the cost. We have a form in which they can present all the costs that are involved in the production, considering all the aspects, a dignified living, all the costs involved in the production, organic, because sometimes they don't know the difference about the cost in the organic production, but we want to recognize the organic production. Then if sometimes our price is not very fair, you can make a new proposal.
Okay. Thank you.
Yes, you're welcome.
Great.
Well, now we can continue with the next presentation. That is the specific standard for crafts and for herbs. But before that, well, now in my screen I have the specific standard for herbs. You can see in the in this part the name of the document. But before that, I want to show you the general standard. This is the general standard of the small producer symbol. Now you can see that you can filter to select the criteria that you want to review. The first chapter is, all of them are the informative criteria. In the presentation, I showed you some of the informative criteria, the one I consider most important. But then you can filter the critical criteria, and then you will see just the critical criteria. And in this chapter 4.1.1, we have annexed in this column SPO, because just this chapter is applied for small producers organizations. Then in the other chapter, number 5, you will see that the X is marked for the buyers, intermediaries, collective trading companies, and we don't have an X in the first column. It means that this, for example, this criteria does not apply for a small producer organization because we don't have an X in this column. Then you have to select the ones that you want to see. And another example is the continuous improvement criteria. Then now you see just the continuous improvement. And finally, we have minimum criteria. I'm going to select just the minimum criteria. And this is the general standard. I recommend you to study each one of these criteria more if you are an evaluator, because we don't call inspectors, we call evaluators. You will have to check each of these criteria to see how could you evaluate each of these for small producer organizations, for buyers, final buyers, for intermediaries, maquila companies, and collective trading companies. Well, now the specific standard for herbs is the same, but in this chapter introduction, we have a presentation to explain how to use this standard. It says, this specific standard of herbs present both criteria from the general standard in regular print and specific criteria in italics that small producers organizations must meet in the case of herbs. The criteria, references, and definitions in the general standard. The criteria, reference, and definitions in the general standard of the small producer symbol should be updated in the specific standard whenever the general standard is modified by Fondepo. Those fields marked with gray background are not relevant fields of the general standard for this statement. Well, it means that the criteria that are marked in gray color are not relevant of the general standard of this statement. It means that we present all of the criteria of the general standard, but some of them must not be applied when you evaluate an organization which produces herbs. For example, this one, because it is marked in color gray. Another example is this one, list of sustainable prices, is marked in color gray. It means that this is not applied for herbs. If you evaluate an organization that produced aromatic herbs, for example, you don't have to check a list of sustainable prices because we don't have prices for this product. Then this is one of the most important difference between the general standard and standards for herbs and crafts. You don't have to check a list of prices for crafts because we don't have prices, defined prices for crafts or herbs. Instead of that, you will have to check the following. This is a chapter about the price. For another example is this one, the one that we reviewed previously. The production units of at least 85% of producers do not exceed the following unit size: agriculture, 15 hectares; indoor agriculture, 1 hectare; beekeeping, 500 hives. A maximum of 50% of producers may have up to times the parameters defined in A, B, and C. Then this does not apply for herbs. It says 15 hectares or in agriculture. The reason is that there is a specific parameter for herbs. We will check in another presentation in the list of specific parameters, because this parameter is not applied for herbs. That's why they are marked in color gray. But we decided to keep these standards, even though they do not apply for herbs, because we didn't want to lost the order, to lost the numbers. That's why we decided to mark in different color only. And all of them, all of the other criteria are the same. The same for in the general standard applied in the HERPS. But there are some of them that are different, and one of them is the definition, for example, of in this chapter 4.5 commercial criteria. It says in this part 4.5.5, the system cost and sustainable prices of the small producers organization must specify the price components in accordance with the criteria in section 6 of the general standard for herbs. The system of cost and sustainable prices must be approved by the General Assembly of the small producer organizations. Then it means that in this case, an evaluator have to check or have to request the system of cost and sustainable prices to the organization. It means that the small producer organization have to have a system of costs and sustainable prices. They have to show you maybe an Excel file in which they have the system of cost for the specific case of herbs. And they have to include in the system of cost different concepts, and they are presented here in this chapter. Well, in this chapter 6.2, sustainable prices, this is the most important. Letter F, the minimum sustainable price for each, well, this is not graph. This is a mistake here. Sorry, because this is the standard for herbs, not for crafts. But in the case of crafts, the minimum sustainable price for each craft sold by the small producer organization is established by the small producer organization on the basis of a system of cost and sustainable prices that includes the following line items of cost, among other potential items, when applicable, both at the level of craft persons and at the level of the SPO. And these are presented all of the concepts that they have to include in the system of cost: raw materials, time invested by labor force, value of own labor force, artistic and cultural value, cost of higher labor force, expenses of processing of maquila, expenses in tools, expenses in machinery, expenses in internal logistics, and, well, until certification expenses. In letter G, access to information from the system of costs and sustainable prices may never be used by a buyer or intermediary to pay prices below market prices. Then an evaluator will have to check the system of cost instead of review the list of sustainable prices, because in the list of sustainable prices we don't have prices for crafts. Each one of the organization, each of organization of craft persons has to have their own system of costs. This is the most important difference between the general standard and the standard for crafts and for herbs. And there are Well, Zimmerman, do you have a question? No. Can you open your microphone, please? Zimmerman?
Yes, I realized that I had a question on based on the previous presentation, but I think it's a bit, I still
Yes,
left.
Don't worry. Tell me.
Yeah, the question was relating to the use of fair trade and SPP products that can be certified. You mentioned that no duplicates are allowed. Just making reference to that. Does that do you mean you no longer allow the certain product, well, clients or farmers or small producer organizations that are certified for fair trade to be certified for SPP, or it's only the sales of the products as SPP cannot be sold as fair trade certified?
No. Yes, they want, as an organization, can sell their products with both certifications.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, and in contracts, you can maybe you will see that they say under SPP conditions and flow conditions. It means that it could be contracts with both certifications and other certifications, because organic or rainforest alliance. But in the case of SPP, you as evaluator would have to check the minimum price paid, mainly because there is a criterion in which it's established the characteristics of the contract. Yes, in our standard, we say the characteristics that the SPP contracts have to have, but we don't want that they specify this is an SPP contract. No, it doesn't matter. We just want that the characteristics about Incoterms, quality of product, and more some of them are presented. And finally, you will have to check the minimum SPP minimum price.
Okay.
And if it's coffee, maybe in the flow system, the price is lower, and in the SPP system, our price is higher than flow. Finally, the price in this contract must to be the price indicated in our list of prices.
Okay, got it.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thanks to you, Zimmerman. Now, Rusty, do you have another question or comment? Rusty, can you open your microphone, please? Okay, Rusty?
Do you hear me?
Yes. Now, well, your voice is not. No, the audio is not good. We cannot hear you very well. Now it says that you don't have connection, Rusty. Maybe you can write by chat, please, Rusty, because we couldn't hear you very well. Well, I would like to continue with the presentations, and or if you prefer, we can take a break of five minutes. Do you agree? Yes, okay. Then we can continue at 10:50, more or less. please. Thank you. Well, could you? I don't know what happened. Yasser? Yasser?
Yes. Sí.
Because my microphone is closed and open, closed and open. I don't know what happened.
Okay. Let me see.
But can you hear me previously?
No.
The explanation about the minimum wage?
No.
No?
Mm-mm.
I'm sorry. Well, I was talking to myself.
Yeah.
Well, about the question that Rusty wrote by chat, I don't know if all of you can see. No. The Rusty wrote a question, and it says it is about system cost and sustainable prices related to labor salary and time invested by labor force. Is it fair if the labor paid under the minimum wage? Is it fine if we conduct the evaluation related to the government regulation concerning minimum wage? And I was telling that it depends on the country, I think, because maybe, I don't know, I'm not sure, maybe Zimmerman can tell us. In Europe is different, but I think that in the countries in the South, Asia, America, Africa is different. For example, here in Mexico, we have government regulations about the minimum wage, but the minimum wage is not fair here in Mexico. And then in this case, when the minimum fare set by the government regulations is not fair, the system of cost that the organization decides, in this case, the organization has to decide that what would be the minimum wage. As evaluator, you cannot. Well, I think that I understand your question, because sometimes if the organization decided not to pay a minimum wage, you as evaluator could not tools, or the tools would be the governmental regulation. I think that is your question, Rusty. What would be the justification to see, or if an organization decided not to pay, not to include a fair minimum wage to establish or to evaluate as a non-compliance? Yes, Rusty?
Yes, because so many company, perhaps fair trade company too, didn't pay the workers with the fair price.
Yes.
They paid the workers under the minimum wage. Is that horrible, I think?
Yes. Well, I'm not sure. Sorry, I'm not sure how to answer you in this case. When
Okay.
you will have to review the system of costs, but I think that is a very good question, and I will have to check with my director, in this case with Geronimo, about this specific point, because it is very important that in the system of costs, what would be the minimum, what would be the most appropriate when you evaluate this concept, the pay, the payment for the labor for each member. Thank you, Rusty. I will check and I will send you an email.
Thank you.
Yes, thanks to you.
Yeah.
Well, and there are another presentation about the annexes to the general standard. Now I am showing my screen the list of sustainable prices. This is the last version. As you see, this last month in April, we have the new edition. This is version 7, edition 1 from April 2017. Well, now, as I told you previously, we have in the sustainable prices, there are 3 components: the minimum sustainable price, the organic recognition, and the SPP incentive. In the FLO system, the fair trade system, they call social prime, but we call SPP incentive. Well, this is a mistake here. It's SPP. Well, SPS is small producer symbol, but they decided to call SPP in general for all of countries. This is the international name of the SPP. Is because of the letters. The letters of SPP is because of the meaning in Spanish, símbolo de pequeños productores, but we have to use SPP for all the languages. Well, then minimum price, organic, and incentive. Then you can see that the price could be the minimum price in Ex Works or FOB. Then depending on the conditions that they sell, FOB or Ex Works. Ex Works is in the maybe in the production unit or in the warehouse, and FOB is when the product is in the ship. Then the products are arachaca, banana, coffee, ground cherry, guava, honey, lemon, lychee, mango, mani, maracuya, orange juice, panela, papaya, pineapple, plantain, quinoa, sugar, vanilla, and yuca. But when a new product appears, or when a new product is sold by an organization, a small producer organization, to a buyer, maybe we don't have an SPP sustainable price, but we have a procedure, a specific procedure for defining SPP sustainable prices. And in this procedure, it is included how would be the procedures to define new prices or to update the prices. And as I explained previously, a group has to be formed. In this group, there are small producers, organizations, and the buyers involved in this product has to present a proposal. They have to send us an Excel file in which are presented the different costs to define finally the SPP sustainable price with the 3 components. And we review as SPP Global that the proposal includes all the conditions that are established in the procedure. And finally, we send to the Standards Committee and the Board of Directors. Maybe as evaluator, sometimes you don't, when you check the list of prices, you will find that we don't have set prices for some products. And sometimes maybe Zimmerman have the experience. Zimmerman is a examiner from one of the from our certification entities authorized, and maybe they have the experience with these prices. But for some products that are considered new in the SPP system, we don't have the SPP sustainable price. then the evaluator have to ask, or the certification entity to SPP Global, to ask for this product, this price, and we have to answer the certification entity. Maybe we will we can tell you that the price is in the process of defining. But in that moment, you can you don't have to check the price, because we don't have the price for this product. And maybe after, when we have the price defined, you will have to check. Well, this is one of the annexes, the list of prices. The other one is the list of optional complementary criteria. In this, you have, well, there are 4 lines. This is when an organization or a company decided or want to use a complementary qualifier in their SPP logo design. Then I will show you some examples. It says it is possible to add optional complementary descriptors to the logo within the following design scheme in its multicolor and single color versions. This is the SPP logo design, just the part that are marked in the green line. Pequeños productores, and at the end is the web page, but nowadays they have the logo is changing. It's in the process of changing, but we will check tomorrow this document, the regulation on graphics. But the most important here is that you can, or an organization or company can add optional complementary descriptors. Then if Alfred is listening to me, maybe you will be interested, because you are a member of an organization, to know this information, that you can add another descriptor to the logo, and you have the possibility to use the SPP logo with the name of your country, for example. As in the example, it says Brazil, Mexico, Ecuador, Bolivia, or two complementary descriptors, Mexico and Indígena, because if you want to emphasize that your group is Indígena, and for example, to specify what kind of Indígena group is Nación Shuar. Nación Shuar, I think that is from Peru. And you have the opportunity to add 4 complementary descriptors. Then if you want to use a complementary descriptor, you will have to specify in the application form for organization or for a buyer. And when you specify that you want to use a complementary descriptor, the certification entity and the evaluator will have to review, to check the list of complementary optional complementary criteria. If you decided to add the name of your country, in this list you can see the column of general criterion. The product comes from producers in a specific country. The specifications: the main raw material of a particular product must come from a single country of origin from the list of UNDEP authorized producing countries. The name of the particular country may be used in the preferred local language. Then the evaluator would have to check this part, the general criterion and the specifications. The examples are Colombia, El Salvador, Guatemala, India, Mali, Mexico, Togo, etc. And the effective date is the date when we started to apply these complementary descriptors. Name of country, indigenous or equivalent, depending on the local descriptor. General criterion says product comes from producers, most of whom belong to native indigenous groups. Specifications are the main raw material of a particular product must come from producers, the majority of whom belong to indigenous peoples, regions, cultures, native to FUNDEPO rice producing countries. The examples are indigenous, First Nation, native, peoples, etc. And the third one is the name of indigenous people. Product comes from producer, most of whom belong to a particular indigenous group, native people. The specifications that the evaluator will have to review are the main raw material of a particular product must come from a single indigenous people. Culture native to a FUNDEPO rice producing country. Examples: Zapotec, Shuar Nation, Quechua, Quiche, Guarani, etc. And finally, you have the opportunity to use a descriptor of women or made by women. Product comes from groups composed exclusively of women producers. The specification are the main raw material of a particular product must come exclusively from women producer and a system must be in a place for traceability and control. This is the list of optional complementary criteria. And finally, the list of specific parameters. I previously mentioned this list because in the general standard says that there are specific parameters for some products or countries. Then as evaluator, first you have to check what is the product the organization is applying for. If it is an organization that produces coffee, coffee is not in this list. Coffee, in the case of coffee, you will follow the regulations set in the general standard. In the case of coffee, what would be the general standard or the parameter for the unique production size? Please, I would like to ask to some of you, maybe Beji, can you hear me? Beji, can you open your microphone?
Yes, I hear you.
Okay, thank you. In the case of coffee, what could be the parameter of the unit production, the size of the unit production?
In case of coffee?
Yes.
It should be 15 hectares?
Yes, maximum 15 hectares.
15 hectares, and when it's 15% of producer may have around 30 hectares.
Yes, thank you very much. You are right.
You are welcome.
Well, again, please, Beji. Now we have here the specific parameters for some products or countries. If you have an evaluation or a specific project for quinoa, for example, it's an organization in your country in the northwest of Africa that I don't know, I'm not sure, maybe it doesn't not, it does not exist, but it's supposed they produce quinoa.
In Tunisia, we don't produce a lot of quinoa, but because Tunisia is not West Africa, it's North Africa.
Okay, well, banana is possible.
Yes, in Ivory Coast, I'm working in Ivory Coast, and in Ivory Coast there is banana. Yeah, let's
Okay.
take the example of banana.
Okay. Then, can you see my screen, the list of parameters, specific parameters? Then here in the first column, it says banana.
Yeah.
But this is product, the second column, country, standard, number, criterion, and specific parameter.
Yeah.
Product is banana. Country, all countries. The standard is the general standard. That is the standard that we reviewed previously. The general standard and the specific criterion, 4.1.1 is the answer you told me. 85% must have 15 hectares, and 50% can have up to times, it means 30 hectares. But this is the general criterion. It means that you don't have to apply this criterion. You have to apply the specific parameter, the next column. Then in the case of banana, for all countries, you don't have to review the general standard that says that 85%, 15 hectares. You would have to apply this specific parameter. What is this specific parameter for banana? Can you read it?
100% of the producers do not exceed the
we cannot hear you very well. Your sound is low. The voice.
Sorry. Now is it better?
Yes, thank you.
Yeah. Okay. So the specific parameter is 100% of producers do not exceed the following size. Means 10 hectare. In production of monocultives or agroforestry, the local equivalence of 10 hectare number of plants. Yeah, so it's 10 hectare in production of monocultives.
Yes, 10 hectares in productions for the 100% of the producers.
Yeah, 100.
Yes, then for that reason, it's very important to check this list of specific parameters. Depending on the product of the organization, you will have to check. Maybe there are just quinoa, banana from Peru, and herbs and quinoa. Then there are just 5 products, but you will have to check the list of specific parameters in order you see that maybe there are a different parameter comparing to the general standard. Okay. Thank you, Beyi. Thank you so much. Well, now that's all about the annexes to the general standard. And according to the agenda, the next topic is the modalities for the certification and registration. Now, the first issues were related to the standards. For that reason, it says standard system. But now we start with the certification system. Yes. Then a second, please. modalities of certification and registration. Modalities for certification and registration, small producer symbol. Certification for small producers organizations and registration for companies. Why the name is different depending on the stakeholder. The different is just the term because in both cases it is conducted an evaluation to verify the compliance with the general standard depending on the type of stakeholder. Small producer organizations are certified. Buyers, collective trading companies owned by small producers organizations, intermediaries, or maquila companies are registered. Intermediaries, we call intermediaries to importers or exporters, but we call in our system intermediaries. And maquila companies are, for example, a processing plant. Yes. In the SPP system, all of the stakeholders involved in the chain of production and trading have to be certified and registered. But remember intermediaries and maquila companies, because in other issue that we will review tomorrow, we will explain that an intermediary or a maquila company have the possibility to be controlled instead of be registered, but only an intermediary or a maquila company, because a final buyer, in this case, is mandatory to get the SPP registration. Types of procedures. Document-based procedure is one of the procedures set in the SPP certification system. We have two different kind of document-based procedures. The first one is the normal, consists exclusively of a document-based evaluation of compliance by small producers organizations, applying for certification with the applicable critical criteria specified in the general standard. Then it means that in the normal document-based procedure, just the critical criteria are evaluated. You see in the general standard that there are different kind of criteria: informative, critical, minimum, and continuous improvement criteria. But the informative criteria are not evaluated, just the critical, minimum, and continuous improvement. But in the normal document-based procedure, just the critical criteria are evaluated. And the second one, letter B, is the shortened, sorry, because this is in Spanish, but it refers that the other type of document-based procedure is the shortened. Consists of a shortened document-based evaluation of an SPO that already has a fair trade certificate acknowledged by SPP Global. For this purpose, at the moment, the only 3 certificates that are acknowledged are the FLO, the FTF, that is Fair Trade Federation, and the ESR EcoCert, Equity, Solidarity, and Responsibility. Just these 3 certificates are acknowledged for this purpose, the shortened document-based procedure. This procedure is applied only the first time that an organization or a company applied for the certification or the registration. Just the first time. The reason is to make easier the process, yes, and cheaper maybe. The other kind of procedure is the complete on-site procedure. Consists of an evaluation on site for all applicable criteria, critical, minimum, and continuous improvement of the general standard by small producers organizations to be certified and by companies to be registered. Certification and registration scheme for small producers and companies. Year 0, that is the first time. Document-based procedure, it could be normal or shortened, because I explained you that the shortened is applied the first year or the first time. The year 1 or the second year, year 1, it must be applied a document-based procedure, normal. In the normal, just the critical criteria are evaluated. In year 2, complete on-site procedure. Year 3 and 4, document-based procedure, the normal. Year 5, complete on-site procedure. Year 6 and 7, document-based procedure, and so on. The reason is that in the SPP system, we are, or the committees and the government, one that is not very expensive, the certification process, because most of the organizations or companies have more than 1 or 2 certifications, different kind of certifications. Most of our SPP certifications have the FLO certificate, and most of them have organic certifications. Some others have Rainforest Alliance, or I don't know, many different. And we know that this is a cost to support by the organization or companies. Then we want that the certification, the SPP certification, is not another important cost for them. When the document-based procedure is conducted, it's supposed, or we want, according to our regulation on costs, the offer is cheaper. And when a complete on-site procedure is conducted, the offer for certification could be higher. The difference is because of in the document-based procedure, just the critical criteria are evaluated. Critical criteria are more or less 15 or 20 for small producers organizations, and critical, continuous, and improvement are more than 50 criteria. That is the difference, and this is the difference in the cost also. But there are some specifications or exceptions for small producers organizations and for companies that they are presented in the certification procedures for organizations and registration procedures for companies. Then I just copied this chapter. If the applicant prefers, the complete on-site procedure may be applied in any case instead of the document-based procedure. Even if there are few or no SPP transactions, complete on-site procedure should be carried out within 3 years or being certified, and then every 3 years. It means that in the case of organizations, in year 2, it's mandatory to complete on-site procedure, because nowadays in the update procedure, there are some exceptions, and it says that if they don't have transactions in the previous year, if they didn't have SPP transactions, they have the opportunity to apply the document-based procedures. But this procedure have changed recently. We are going to notify in the following days, and this is a new rule. In this case, in the case of organizations, in year 2, even though they have not had SPP transactions, they would have to apply a complete procedure on site. And when transactions are above 1,500, a complete on-site procedure will be conducted every 2 years instead of every 3 years. Because in this slide, you can see that every 3 years is applied the complete on-site procedure, but it says that if the value of the SPP transactions was above 1,500, then a complete on-site procedure must be applied every 2 years instead of every 3. Then non-conformity notes, changes in legal status, and other drastic changes in an organization's characteristics may cause the certification entity to request control evaluations in the year corresponding to document-based evaluation with prior authorization from SPP Global. Note, after the application of the complete procedure on site, the document-based procedure is applied to continuous years. In any case, if the document-based procedure does not provide sufficient information to establish compliance with the critical criteria specified in the general standard, it must be complemented with an evaluation on site. Well, these are the specification or exceptions for small producers organizations. And in the case of company, it's almost the same. Well, it's not the same. There are some differences because here in the second line, if there were no SPP transactions in the previous year, document-based procedure may be applied instead of complete on-site procedure. Then it's different because if it is an SPO, and if they don't have SPP transactions in year 1, well, in year 2, it says that it must be applied the complete on-site procedure. And the specification says, even though there were not SPP transactions, it must be applied the complete on-site procedure. But if it is a final buyer, for example, you as evaluator will have to check in this year, year 2, there were SPP transactions. If the final buyer didn't have SPP transactions, then a document-based procedure, normal, can be conducted in year 2. Then you can see now the difference between being an SPO and being a final buyer. And in the case the number of SPP transactions is low, complete on-site procedure must be applied in the second year of the registrations and then every 3 years. In cases when the transactions are more than $3 million, in all cases, complete complete on-site procedure must be applied. Then, as evaluator, you have to check what was the value of the SPP transactions in the previous year to decide what would be the procedure to apply in a specific year. Well, this is the end of this presentation. Now I will see if anybody has some questions or comments. Rusty, do you have a question or comment? Because your hand is raised. Okay, then can we continue? Because I see that there are not questions. Can we continue? are almost at the end of this first session.
Alejandra, Alfred has a question.
Okay, thank you, Alfred.
Not a question.
A second,
It's
please.
not really a question. Hello?
No.
Hello?
Just a second, Alfred, because a plane is.
Okay, is it not really a question?
Yes.
Is you only to say that we are thanks you because whatever you are saying to us is very that we're waiting to you.
Well, again, please. I didn't.
I said that.
Yes.
Hello?
Yes. Sorry. Again.
Hello? I
Can
say
you hear me?
I say that whatever you are saying is that we were waiting from the SPP Global.
You are waiting?
Because whatever we're waiting to you is that you are explaining it to this time. Before we apply, we're asking about how it will happen. Now, right now, we are taking several things about how we will conduct this certification in our organization.
I'm sorry, I didn't understand very well your question. I don't know.
Oh. Let me write.
Yes, please, can you write? I'm sorry, but Rusty, do you have another question?
I was saying that we are so happy to hear all that exposition.
Finally, we will present the topic about the SPP digital system according to the agenda. It will take some minutes, then don't worry about the time. And for this presentation, my colleague Yasser Martinez is going to show his screen and to explain about the SPP digital system. Now you can change the presenter, Yasser.
Okay.
Meanwhile, we wait for the question of Alfred.
Yes.
Okay. Do you have the question in the chat, Alfred? Okay, thank you, Alfred. Now I got the comment. Alfred?
Yes.
I'm going to read because Alfred says Alfred is a member of a cooperative in Africa. Alfred,
Yes,
what,
I'm in the DRC, Eastern Africa.
okay, thank you.
Mm.
And he is telling me that an opinion because he says that um, they are so happy to hear all of the exposition because we asking ourselves about the way we use the SPP standards. But this is an opinion, and thank you, Alfred, for your opinion, your comment.
Thank you too.
I'm going to close your microphone, Alfred. Okay, now in the screen we can see the SPP web page, and well, this is the digital system that we started to use last year in 2016. At the end of this year in 2016 in September, and nowadays when an organization applies for the SPP certification, or a company buyer, final buyer, an intermediary, or even though a maquila company apply for the SPP registration, they have to use the SPP digital system. But for some of the maybe the applicants is a little bit difficult to know how to use the platform. Then just my colleague Yasser Martinez is going to show the general steps to use this platform. And for any doubt, we can have a meeting in the future. Maybe we just have to agree to program and show you how to use the SPP digital system as an organization or as a certification entity. But this is just a general presentation. Then now, please, Yasser, can you continue? Can you start, please?
Okay, thank you, Alejandra. As you can see, this is the main view of the digital system. This system, we have two versions, Spanish and English. So for this example, we're gonna use English version. This is the main view of the English version. We have two menus. First one, we have 5 options: small producers organization, certification entity, companies, admin, and resource. In the second option, we have just 3 options: SPO, small producers organization, CE, certification entity, and companies. Also, we have 2 lists where we can view the list of small producers of organizations certified with the ESPP. We are gonna click. As you can see, we can view the list of SPO certified by the SPP. If you want to search an organization, you can type in this option. For example, Sopacti.
Yes.
Or if.
Sorry, continue.
Okay. Or if you want search by product or country or certification entity, we have another bar. For example, BCS.
BCS.
BCS. Okay. As you can see, we're filtered by certification entity. now we are able to see all the SPOs by BCS. Also, we have a list of companies with the same options that the another list.
For example, sorry,
Yeah.
the list of companies,
Mhm.
maybe in the case of organizations, some of organizations are interested in check what are the list, the update list of companies registered with the SPP, the final buyers, because they are interested in offer their product as SPP. Then some of them or many people ask us about the list of buyers. Then you can check the list of buyers here in the SPP digital system. But we have not, we cannot see the list yet. Yasser?
Okay. Can you see my screen?
Yes, but this is the list. Ah, yes, list of buyers registered.
Yeah. Companies.
Yes.
And this is the list of SPOs.
Yes.
Okay. So in the main view, we have also a short description of what is the SPP. If you want to know more, you can click in the next link. Okay. For this example, we're gonna use SPO account. We're gonna select this option, SPO. Then we can see a login form where we can put our user or SPP, and password. Also, we have another option that is create account if we don't have any account. Let's going to see this option. As you can see, we have a registration form for small producers organization where you can type the main information of the organization, name of the small producer organization, short name, website, email. This email is where we can receive our user and password and another notification of the system. Office telephone, country, city, office address, and fiscal data. Here is an important alert. If you are or were an organization or company certified with the SPP, you must ask for user and password at the following email. Okay, now we are logging with a existing SPO. This is the main view of the SPO, main menu SPO. We have 4 options: search for organization, applications, quarterly report, and my account. If we select search for organizations, we have a search bar. If we want to know more detailed information about an organization or company, we can type the ESPP name or abbreviation. And in this case, for example, SOPACD. We can see the SPP, name of organization, country, certification process, certification deadline, products, certification entity, and certificate. We can see also the general information. If we click on applications, we have two options: application list and new application. In this section, application list, we can see a table where we can consult the ID, type, date, CE, its certification entity, application status, quotation, objectives process, certification process, SPP membership, certificate, and action. Sorry. This table is when we register a new application. Okay. Here we can see the list of requests we have made. In the table header, we can see the ID. It's the ID of the application, type of application, if it's a new application or renewal, the date of application, the certification entity, the application of the status of application, the process of application, and in case if we have a positive dictum, we can see the process of certification.
Yasser?
Yeah.
But do we have, in this example, is there a list of applications? Because we cannot see in the screen a list.
No. In this case, we don't have any application. Yeah, it's an example SPO.
Okay.
So let's going to see the option of new application. So as you can see, we have the digital format of the application. The main option is that if we want to send a specific certification entity or application, we can select from this list. We have certification entities approved by SPP. Also, we have to select the type of applications, first time or renewal of certificate. Okay, in this case, we're not going to complete an application. So let's check out the option of my account. In this option, we can see our main information. Where is the SPP, our name, short name, password, web type, email, phone, country, city, office address, and tax data. In this option, we have a question. Do you authorize the certification entity login to your account? By default, the certification entity cannot use the organization's account, but if we select yes, then they can use our account. This option is used in case the organization has problems using the internet or the computer, so a certification entity can help them. We have also a list of contacts. These contacts are added by the applications in case that we send a new application, for example, with some contact persons or person of the administrative area. these contact persons are added to our account. This is the main. This is a short presentation about the SPO menu. In case that you want a more detailed explanation, you can write to us by email or Skype. My email and Skype. If you have some questions or problem using the system, you can write me.
In this topic, Zimmerman, can you hear me? I suggest that maybe you can ask for a specific meeting or presentation about how to use the SPP digital system as a certification entity, because nowadays VCS Ecuador is the regional office that use the SPP digital system. But in the case of organizations, SPOs from Africa, Asia, that are that have started to apply for the SPP certification, VCS in Europe coordinate the evaluations or the processes for these applicants. So I consider important that you use the platform Zimmerman, since the office in Germany. Then if you want, we can schedule a specific meeting to show you the SPP function. Okay. And I don't know if there is if there are some questions about this presentation, or we can finish this session for today, and we will continue tomorrow. As you can see in the agenda, there are 2 charts for the second day, and at the last part for tomorrow is specifically for evaluators. It doesn't matter if, for example, Alfred, you want to stay in the second part of the session for tomorrow, even though it is for evaluators. It would be good if you are also in this part. And today we take 30 minutes more. I am sorry for this time, but we will try to be to have the presentations on time for tomorrow, and that would be all for today. I don't know if you have more questions, or if you prefer to write it for tomorrow, if you remember something after we finish. And maybe we will check the evaluation form. That is a very important document for the evaluations for the applicants and for the evaluators of the certification entities. Then I think that it would be interesting, the topics for tomorrow also. Thank you very much for your time.
Alejandra, Alfred has a question.
Okay. Yes, Alfred? Is it a question or a question?
Is your question? Yes. My question is this. This training will be sanctioned by documents or not?
Yes, I will send you the documents when after we finish today, I will send
Yeah.
the presentation and documents that we reviewed today.
A certification of participate.
The certification for participants.
Yes.
Yes, we are going to send you a certificate for participants of this training course.
Okay. Let us
Not-
meet tomorrow now.
but I will ask you to please wait me because I sometimes don't have enough time. Maybe in 2 weeks or maybe in a month. Please, maximum, I will have to send you your certificates, okay?
Okay.
But do you want to have the qualification as evaluator? No, just as a participant.
Yes, I do.
Okay. Well, yes, I will send you the certificates, Alfred.
Okay.
Thank you. Well, then now I say you bye-bye and see you tomorrow or listen to you tomorrow at, if you prefer, at 8:45 or 9 o'clock in the Mexico time, please. Thank you very much for your attention and for your patience sometimes. Thank you, Alfred, Beiji, Rusty, and Zimmerman. See you tomorrow or listen to you tomorrow. Thank you all. Thank you, Yasser.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Alejandra. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Alejandra. Before you
Yeah.
go, yeah,
Yeah.
I was just looking at the schedule that you have for tomorrow, and it says today the schedule was until 11, like Mexican time. Tomorrow it will be like 12:30, 12:20. I'm just wondering if I would only be able to do maybe the first session until 11, because right here it's already 7 p.m. and they close the office doors like earlier. I could do it until 7 p.m., but the second session would be until like an hour longer. So
Okay. Then I think that we can check the second part in the evaluation form in the first part.
okay, and also today Beji left 30 minutes ago or so, because maybe you already know he's in Ramadan because of religious reasons. So yeah, just that you're aware of it.
Yes. What time does Beiji cannot be?
Well, he left. If you look at the comments that he put, he left around.
Yes, but I didn't remember.
Yeah, he wrote a comment when he said I'm leaving, so it's sometime
Okay.
at 18:36. Dear all, I'm sorry, but I have to leave. So he left like half an hour ago.
Okay. I didn't see.
Yeah.
Okay. Yes.
Okay, so until tomorrow.
Yes. Until tomorrow. Thank you, Zimmerman.
Okay, buenas tardes.
Buenas tardes. Hasta luego. Gracias.
Goodbye, everyone.
Goodbye.
Bye, everybody.
Bye, Alfred.
Bye.
Goodbye.
Bye.
See you tomorrow.
See you tomorrow.
Okay.